Welcome back to our channels, Warriors. We are still growing. If you haven't had the homie that would yell, front to back, back to front, when the CEO was walking around in C6, smash that subscribe button. Go ahead and have him smash it right now. First and foremost, let me give a shout out to the following patrons: Shower Shark, Fuck Your Chest Pains, Priya These Nuts, Lockdown 5, Crystal Bond, La Reina, Hernan, Don't Trip. What the fuck? That one's new. Don't trip. Don't trip. Winston, Armando, Alejandro, Trailero 760, Grant, El Skid, Nathan, Hobie Cat, Lead with Love, Elbert 12, AI Vega, SKN, Big Bad 48, JT, Nova, Jag, Linda, the retired CEO, Michigan Wolverines, Mikey 559, the homie Mario, Chevelle 66, Abuelita's Journey, Gigi, and Doubts Herrero. If you have not already signed up for that Patreon, make sure you hit the link in the description below. Right after this, I'm going to drop an exclusive Patreon video only. I ain't trying to get people caught up, all right? But this episode right here, man. Oh, that one name caught me off guard, man. Oh, shit. Cell living versus dorm living in the California Department of Corrections. All right. So, you guys realize that I started in 2006 at Centinela State Prison, Southern California. My first post assignment, was Charlie Gym. That is a dorm setting. Imagine a basketball gym like at the YMCA. And I'll put a bunch of fucking bunk beds in there, rows and rows and rows. There you go. That was what that looked like. You had a catwalk up in the top for the gunner, and that catwalk didn't even go from one end of the gym to the other end of the gym for some reason. It's kind of weird. It only stopped kind of like 3/4 of the way. So since you couldn't see behind the last row of bunks, that was what we refer to as crack alley. That's where the inmates would tattoo, smoke. I would say they burned their chest pieces, but they would. All right. So, since that was my first post, let me tell you guys something. If I don't know that post sucks or it's the worst fucking post in the prison, then I wouldn't know no different because I'm brand spanking new. So it's like I went from shitty spot to shitty spot to shitty spot before things started looking good. But it wasn't shitty to me because it was normal, because it was new. You guys are catching my drift here, man. Thought that's how prison was supposed to be. So I'm going to give you like what I would see from a CO's perspective, right? And what it was like to be an inmate in blue. Not that I ever was I was an inmate in blue in county jail in a dorm setting, exactly like that. But I'm not even going to really dive into that. So as a CO, you have a platform. Now imagine like, you see how I'm sitting down right here? Imagine if there's a platform where you climb up a little set of stairs, and now you're sitting up here where my hand is at, and you can oversee the top of the bunks somewhat, right? You're eye level with the top bunk. There you go. So you're elevated. So sometimes you can see the top of inmates' heads as they would walk, like, there's a wall, like underneath the podium. They had to give you like a piece of paper or whatever the hell. They would just like stand on their tippy toes and give you whatever. To my left was there was two sets of doors, right? Two sets of doors, one right here, and then the other one on the opposite side. Closest to those doors, you had the showers. So imagine like basic training, boot camp, just shower heads, right? A bunch of naked vatos, the essence of a man, all lathered up. Now the problem with working in a gym, and again, I didn't realize this till after, is that it fucking sucks in there. You got the steam from the shower. You got the latrines, which are the toilets. And again, there's no stalls. It's kind of like Army. It's kind of like Marines, basic training. Your rows of toilets, but no shower. So you're sitting shoulder to shoulder with your homie taking a shit. And then on the other side, there might be a couple urinals. And then like it's all a common area, right? The whole gym's a common area. There's no fucking privacy. So it sucks because it's hot in there. Sentinel is hot as fuck as it is. 120 degrees outside, plus the hot showers running. The essence of men, they're playing basketball, doing burpees. It's just the steam, G. Right? It's like a sauna in there of nutsack and ass and sweat. It's the truth. So in the front is the day room area. You have 2 television sets. I would suppose for different races, but at this time, it was a fucking gym packed of Mexicans, and that was bad. That was not cool, right? Well, Hector, you're Mexican. Why wasn't it cool? Because look, when you have only one race, they don't have to look over their shoulder for other races. They don't have to be on their minding their P's and Q's because their fucking total focus is on green. Right? The enemy in the gym is green. Well, the enemy's always going to be green, but this is extra enemy type shit. So that's what kind of fucking sucks, man. Working in a gym full of one race. Delta gym was full of blacks. Ooh, damn. Alpha gym, then you had Bravo gym. They were mixed, right? Holy shit. So the reason why they were one race, because they kept going off on each other. They kept fighting, riots. So you have your 2 TVs, and you have benches, rows of benches. All right, so now I've described to you the layout. You got the 2 front doors, the shower, the counselor's office, a little supply closet right here to my right where I give them cleaner and all kinds of stuff. The latrines, the toilets, and then you have crack alley. That's where the parties happen. That's where they fight. They fucked the dude up in crack alley one time with a steak cup. I heard that steak cup. I was minding my own business like I always do, and I heard a steak cup, the big brown hard steak cups, go flying across the room. So like me and my partner instantly were like, fuck. We look, it's like all eyes, all heads were looking at us, right? And we're like, fuck. We get up, we start walking to crack alley. Holy shit, man. There was a dude face down in a pool of blood. Split his wig. Hit the alarm. Central control. I was brand new. So what do they be doing in there, Hector? The inmates. Well, they sit down, they watch TV, they be on the door, and there was like yellow line that they couldn't be on the door. So I was new. I'd be like, hey, get off the door. Get off the door. Get off the door. Man, I see you. Why you tripping? You're doing too much. Man, you act like you're the police, like real police. Get off the door. I don't even know why I was saying get off the door. Right? The reason I was saying get off the door is because let's say there was a staff assault right outside they're going to kick it off in the fucking gym, right? They're going to that's mandatory. That's automatic. Another thing, if there's a race riot outside and they see which 2 races are involved and it happens to be their race, they're going to kick it off in the gym. So that's why I would say get off the goddamn door. But it doesn't matter. They could, if you're sitting on the bunk, you can see outside. Count time. That was sketchy because you have to walk in between the rows of bunks. The bunks are fucking, if you put your hand to hand, you're going to be touching practically shoulder to shoulder width. So count time on your bunks, count time. The inmates go on their bunks and they sit down or they lay down. And then you walk in between with a little piece of paper, you and your partner. And that was sketchy. I mean, it's going to be sketchy. You're in the fucking lion's den. Sometimes they would hang their feet off of the side of the bed. Now, imagine if you're walking by and their feet like this. So my partner, the one that was solid at one point, lost his damn mind. He would tell them, hey, put your feet up. They knew better. So then, yeah, they would put their feet up. But like, hey, we ain't trying to get a boot to the fucking face, right? That's a possibility. So I'll tell you guys this. I was brand spanking new. There was a female officer. I believe she was an MTA, transferred over, became a CO. So she was like a medical lady, became a CO. Come on, man. When you're new, you're new. I didn't know what the hell. So I'm fucking following behind her like a lost puppy. And all the inmates in there were fucking clowning me. They were sureños. They were saying shit like, are you my mommy? Are you my mommy? Right here I am fucking trying. Like, I wasn't mad. I was like embarrassed. Like, fuck. Like, they know I'm new. I know I'm new. The lady knows I'm new. I don't want to be new, right? But you got to pay your dues. Are you my mommy? They're like, oh, look at him. He looks lost. Ah, what are you going to do, man? Lose your cool? They weren't lying. It was the truth. I look like, fuck. I was just following this lady's, like, her program. So, is it hostile? If there's other races in there, yes, it can be hostile. Because the inmates amongst themselves will say, hey, to each other, like, you cannot walk down this fucking row right here, right? This row is ours. This row over here is yours. If you sit this way, you guys better not even be looking like over here on our side, because they will fucking start tripping. And like, God forbid another race sits on the bunk of another, let's say a black sits on the Mexican's bunk. It's not going to end well. That's the truth. Like, it's going to kick off at that time, right? It was fucking volatile. Stealing. God forbid you fucking steal something from another race in that gym. You're going to kick it off. I mentioned they'd be doing tattoos. Here's another story. I got to keep it real with you guys, man. I was brand spanking new. I'm taking it back. I found a tattoo machine in a locker. I thought I hit the fucking jackpot, man. I thought I hit the jackpot. Your boy's doing it, man. I'm going to write the Imperial Valley Press. Hector saved the day. Cop of the year. Motherfucker swore to uphold the truth, nothing but the truth. And I'm doing it, man. Oh, I probably saved like 30 people by doing this fucking shit right here, right? So, this is what my dumb fucking thought process was. I think I left the tattoo gun in place, right? And my whole thought process was, I'm going to use it as leverage. I know what you guys are thinking, like, what the fuck? I'm going to use it as leverage so that I got so I got something on someone. And if they get out of pocket, I'm going to say, oh yeah, you want me to shut down your shop? And you see how fucking retarded that sounds? I was watching too much The Shield with Vic Mackey, right? The Shield, too much Training Day, Bosch on Amazon. It wasn't even out then, but I had that mindset, like, I want to do things my way up in this motherfucker, right? I don't want to be a square up in this bitch. Even though that's a pretty damn square thing to do, right? Anyhow, the inmate probably wouldn't have not even gave two fucks either way. Probably like, take the fucking thing. I don't give a fuck. Write me up. They wanted to get written up. The inmates kept asking us to write them up so they can go from level 3 points to level 4. I should have mentioned that gyms, it only supposed to be designated inmates in there, like a certain point system. But there was definitely level 3s in that gym. There's nothing but level 3 inmates in that gym. Level 4 inmates were on the buildings 1 through 5. So, of course, the fucking level 4 inmates would make the inmates in the gym hold their weapons and all kinds of shit. I didn't necessarily find any weapons in the gym. A lot of pruno. They knew how to manipulate. You can manipulate anything in there, man. They be doing it. Light sockets, light fixtures, fucking the latrine. It has a metal or an aluminum thing. They peel it back. You look, there's like fucking pruno bag hanging on some strings, right? So they do tattoos, and the way that they get the ink is by getting chess pieces. You know, the chess pieces, the soot. They'll get the chess pieces. They'll get a can of soda. They'll cut the motherfucker in half. They'll make like a wick. They'll put the bag over there. They'll burn the pieces, and the soot that collects on the top of the bag, they'll mix it with baby oil, and then they'll use it as they'll put it in the eyedropper. The eyedropper fucking container. There you go. Remember I told you about that crazy chick that was my partner? Well, one time we're doing our count, and yeah, they were burning ink in the latrine. That's where they were burning. For the most part, they were good about doing it while we were sitting in the podium. Then when we would go do our count, it would be gone already. So we weren't really tripping in that gym. And but it was there, right? So I see a fire. I start blowing on it like a fucking idiot. My partner, the little fucking female, grabs me, pushes me aside, like, move, and just starts stomping it out. In my head, I thought, whoa, what a fucking idiot I am, right? Why didn't I think of that? Again, I was brand new. You guys are hearing all my brand new stories in the gym. So you guys know that's fucking new booty fucking things that I'm doing, and it's the gym. And then let me tell you one more thing, man. You would have the gunner up in the top. Well, there was a first watch gunner. He was not a bad cop. He was a solid guy. But come on, man. I forgot to tell you this part. Since there's no privacy in the gym, they would do clotheslines. This was a pet peeve of my partner. It wasn't really a pet peeve of mine because I didn't have no pet peeves at that time. They would get a line, right, a string, put it up from one end of their bunk to the other, and then they would get their actual sheet from the bed and hang it over. You can have a little bit of alone time to yourself. You can have some privacy. You can be reading a book, whatever the fuck. Anyway, you ain't supposed to be doing that. You go to Alpha Yard, look like a fucking gypsy camp. I don't know if I can say gypsy camp, but so during chow, my partner would come and tear down all the clotheslines. While there was a fucking overzealous officer up in the gym gun on first watch, and what this dude would do, he would start yelling and getting his flashlight and calling down and telling like the cop on the floor. I don't know if he did this to me. He probably did. Like, hey, snatch up that line. I already told that inmate. Right? So you got this guy up on the top yelling at me and yelling at the inmate. Snatch up that line. Give me that sheet. Put it in the bucket. There's a bucket that you can lower mazapanes to the inmates if you want. Just don't be doing that. So it'd be kind of awkward because I'm on the floor and the inmates look at me like, what's that dude's problem? Why is he tripping? I'm like, I don't know. But if he motherfucker wants to get off on somebody, he can get off on me, right? He can't climb up there and beat his ass. Right? I'm accessible. When motherfuckers get angry, they become hostile. Right? It's prison. Norway Project. So that is the whole gym setup. You guys got a whole roundabout. I gave you guys a fucking tour of the gym. What about housing units, Hector? The cells. That was cool. But then again, I touched down in a housing unit that had bunk beds on the fucking day room. They weren't even supposed to be having bunk beds. So I go from one shitty place to another shitty place, right? Eventually, things get better as far as the overcrowding. They just released all these people to the streets. Better for me in there. So you're sitting there. There's cells. First thing you need to do, man. First thing you need to do when you get on shift is a security check. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because it's paramount. Your job fucking depends on it. Especially if you're second watch, the morning shift, 06 a.m., 0600. Ain't nobody checked on these inmates all night long. Or you're supposed to. But again, ain't nobody checked on these inmates all night long. So the possibility of you finding a fucking dead inmate with his head chopped off is a possibility. Jaime Osuna. So do the security check, look in the cell. Make sure they're alive, man. Just make sure they're alive, right? I would knock on the window, look, okay, all right, cool. Hey, I care about you, man. They knew. The inmates knew we were doing a security check, right? I'll be damned. Because you're not gonna check on them again for like a couple hours. The last thing you want to do is be at work, sitting at your desk, and you have a dead inmate that had been dead for 3 days. Donovan, housing unit 15 or 14, I think 14. Fucking inmate was dead for 3 days. The inmate was a Mexican race inmate. The dude was black, looked like a mummy. When they did chest compressions, their hand went into like the mush. Oh no. The homicide detective from San Diego Sheriff got there and said, hey, everybody get out of here. Close this off. We have a fucking homicide scene, right? It was not deemed a homicide. I don't know what the hell happened there. But I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, right? I wasn't there. I don't know. I was over here. I don't know what the fuck happened over there. But I don't know. You didn't smell that? Smell what? So, yeah, that's why we do security checks, right? When I was new, people ask me, you ever give inmate passes, Hector? You ever see things that you kind of let slide? Yeah, right? I told you I did this. One time it was a count time. Count time of all fucking times the inmate's gonna be knowing, or it could have been a security check. Could have been a security check. I take that back. Or it was fucking count time. Inmates are supposed to be knowing I'm supposed to be doing my count, walking around, right? So I walk and I look in it was on C-section. I look in the cell. You have one sureño tattooing on the other. I knock on the window and they look up and I go like, hey, what the fuck? Right? Like you're fronting me off. Like the blatant disrespect. Right? It's like if you're smoking weed in front of a cop and you just blow the weed in their face. The fuck? So I knock, I'm like, hey. And they're like, oh, fucking start moving shit around. They weren't really tripping. I wasn't really tripping. Think they knew, like, oh, they fucked up in a way. Whatever, man. They're tattooing. I kind of learned a lot from my dad, right? It's like, what are you going to do, man? Fight fucking crime all day long over the pettiest of shit? What are the dudes tattooing in the cell? Motherfuckers they were on lockdown when lockdowns used to be lockdowns. 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. The good old days. The good old days. You know, the good thing about lockdowns is that if you have a massive riot or a massive staff assault or an attempted murder on a peace officer, you lock down the inmates. Gives you plenty of time to write your report. Gives you a whole fucking year to write your report, right? As opposed to having a massive fucking riot or a massive fucking staff assault and then in 20 minutes, resume program, isolated incident. I hadn't even started my fucking report, and now we're going to go get into another fucking mess, right? And now you're just stacking incidents on top of incidents on top of incidents. They're all fucked up. You can't remember which incident with what, which inmate hit who. And now your administration saying like, you forgot a comma here. You forgot a period here. Oh, you motherfuckers, right? That's why you guys see what you guys be seeing. I've explained the layout of a 270 design housing unit. You got A section, B section, and C section as if you're walking in. They got TVs on each side of the day room for the different races. 2 phones on each side of the day room. They got showers on upper, lower, on every section, designated by their own races. When they had the bunk beds on the gym, they utilized cell, I can't even remember right now, like 126, 127. Right behind the podium, it was toilets for the bunk beds. They be hiding fucking weapons in there for sure. I found a lot of shanks in there. What about C6, Hector? You yelled front to back to front. Those were like those long pods, like those corridors. And the reason they would yell front to back, this is ADSEG. Inmates are in handcuffs at all times. The back door of the pod was to the yard, the dog kennels, like the movie Shot Caller. The front door was where you get walked in. Well, if you're a CO, you have access to walk wherever the fuck you want to walk. So you can walk you can go to the yard, out to the yard, and then come back in. So if you're coming back in, let me tell you about the inmates, man. They alert each other when officers are walking, right? They'll say, caminando! Damn, I haven't said that in a while. Caminando! Front to back! So that caminando means walking. So front to back would mean coming from where I told you towards the back of the fucking dog kennels. Now they say back to front, caminando! And then they fucking, like, you hear it echoing. They echo it. It's like an echo command. Cease fire, cease fire, cease fire. So caminando, back to front, gracias, eso. So, right. Well, Hector, would that upset you? No, it was just like normal fucking program, right? Sometimes when I would catch them slipping, I would yell front to back. And it'd be hilarious because it'd be kind of like, the fuck? Right? Who the fuck out there yelling front to back? Front to back! Don't trip, guys. It's just me, guys. I didn't joke like that. I was a new officer. I was an officer. So I wasn't much of a jokester as an officer. Like, motherfucker was very serious. It wasn't until I became a sergeant and lieutenant where I was like, oh man, I ain't got to deal with you guys anymore. You guys are great. But that's the problem with these managers, man, that were plumbers, that were office technicians, cooks. They were never an officer. They never got to experience working in a building with the inmates. It's a whole nother world, man. You try telling a guy to lock it up, he tells you, fuck you, make me. What the fuck? No. Nah, Lord. Not today, G. But I did notice as I climbed up the rank, the inmates got nicer to me. And I'm like, oh, that's why the managers be acting like how they act. Because they never got to see the real shit inside the housing unit. It's always nothing but a good morning, ma'am. Oh, it's a good looking suit. Hey, warden, good morning. I'm like, oh, motherfuckers are good, man. They're good. With that, here's the message for today, man. Different environments, improvise, overcome, and adapt, no matter what. And while I do talk about prison, this applies to anywhere and anything of all walks of life. You're going to get thrusted into new positions. You're going to get thrusted into new roles, new locations. And there's that anxiety of not knowing what to do, right? But check this out, man. You're right on time. No matter where you are at, you are right on time. And I learned that when I had about 5 years of sobriety. And somebody told me, like, hey, Hector, you're right on time, man. You're right where you're supposed to be right now. Because I wanted more years. I wanted this. I wanted that, right? And it's like, relax. You're good. So with that, keep pushing forward.